What is going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch back here with Dilly Vanilli. It's been a minute since we went live together, but we're here to discuss a topic that's close to Dilly's heart. The Dallas Cowboys are bringing back Jason Witten, or shall I say Jason Witten is returning to the Dallas Cowboys after 1 year in the commentary booth, 1 year on Monday Night Football. A lot of people were pretty critical of Jason Witten and his role on Monday Night Football. We'll get into kind of, the impact on Monday Night Football, the impact on the Cowboys, and what we can really expect from Jason Witten as a player at this point in his career. So we'll talk about all those different things. Let us know in the comment section what you guys think. Do you think this is a great move for the Cowboys to bring back Jason Witten? Do you think that, Jason Witten's not really going to be a factor? Or are you just happy that he's no longer a commentator? Give us your opinion in the comments. Gronk spike that like button. And if you're new and stumbling upon this video, subscribe to the channel. Dilly Vanilli, I'll let you go first. You are the Cowboys fan, so let me know what you think about this move. I know you're a big Jason Witten guy, so what's your thoughts on it?
I love the original Jason Witten. He was one of my favorite players as growing up as a Cowboys fan. Watched him for many years and make many big clutch moments for the Cowboys. He is a Cowboy for life, basically. It was a really sad way to see him kind of go to ESPN. He just kind of left the team. There was no retirement. Here's your last game celebration, all that stuff. He just left to ESPN. And I was like, all right, that's the end of the story, I guess. We'll see him in ESPN. And then he sucked in Monday Night Football. I absolutely hated his commentary, even as a Cowboys fan. He was just a terrible commentator, and which leads us here to today. First off, I'm going to go with your conspiracy. I feel like that he's back here because he was about to get fired. I just want to put that out there. I feel like he was this close to getting fired from the company. So leaving the ESPN on his own terms is the way to go. Second off, the new Jason Witten, I don't really know what he's going to contribute. I'm happy that he's back because he is a team player. He's a Cowboys player for life. And that kind of presence with some of these new guys is going to be a good thing. But I don't really know what he's going to contribute on the field. The tight end situation is kind of weird. You saw Blake Jarwin have some good games last year, but there was concerns about what he's going to do in the offense. Swaim has been hurt. He's about to leave. Dalton Schultz hasn't done anything. So the tight end position was really missed last year without Jason Witten. But it's also been another year. Jason Witten's older. This contract's pretty cheap, I guess. But I don't really know what the role offensively is going to be for him. But I think Dak is going to like somebody like Jason Witten to be there because in 2016, it was a favorable thing for him to be there with them and get all the experience necessary. I should say the 2017 season. So it's an interesting thing for me. I'm kind of like in the neutral area right now. Like I'm happy he's back with the team because he's Jason Witten. But in terms of what he's going to produce, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of production. Like maybe just help out the talent. I feel like Jerry Jones is more happy than anybody else because he's like, yeah, we can get Jason Witten back. Remember when Jason Witten was great? Remember 2010 Jason Witten or 2012 Jason Witten when he had all those receptions? We're going to get that Jason Witten back, which he's delusional if he thinks that. But, yeah, kind of just a weird situation, but glad he's a Cowboy, I guess. And we don't have to hear him on Monday Night Football, which that in itself is a blessing in disguise. I tell you what. That's all. That's what I got to think about it.
Why are you being so mean to your buddy Jason? You didn't like him on Monday Night Football, bro?
Did anybody? I mean, come on. I love Jason Witten. Like as a player, as a Cowboy, he's a Cowboy for life. You know what I'm saying? NWO for life, Cowboy for life, that kind of stuff. But as a commentator, he said Eric Ebron was Patrick Mahomes' favorite tight end. He didn't even play with him. Come on, bro. You can't do that in the commentary booth. You don't get to be paid to say stuff like that. That's how I feel about that.
Bro, this Hot Take Hockey is taking over our chat right now. What's going on?
Bro, they're streaming that Maple Leafs Islanders game. They're like, all right, got to go in the chat. Which
I don't know if Bodo is talking about me or if he's talking about Dilly, but
I don't know.
Better lighting. Thank you for the $20, though, Bodo. We appreciate that support. And thank you guys again for the 7,000 subscribers. We appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So my thoughts on Jason Witten, very similar to what you said. I think we kind of already went over it in our Twitter chat personally. I do want to kind of give a spin on it because just looking at the Cowboys roster, one thing kind of sparked in my mind. Obviously, you kind of touched on the tight end situation. They don't have much in terms of a starting tight end. There's Jarwin, and of course, the guy that continues to stay on the roster who's no good, Rico Gathers.
I didn't even mention him because I don't think he's
Schultz, Jeff Swaim is also, but he's a free agent.
I think he's about to go.
Yeah, so he's about to go because I think they're probably going to keep Schultz next year and Jarwin for sure, and then have Witten. So that would probably be their 3 tight ends going into next year and probably cut Rico Gathers. That would be my thought. But the player that I'm actually looking at here in terms of free agency is Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley is a free agent. They don't know if Cole Beasley is going to return to the team or not. He's going to be up for a contract somewhere else, and he's probably going to take the best contract for him. So that being said, I think when you think about the role that Cole Beasley plays, he's kind of like the possession receiver, the chain mover, the guy that catches the ball underneath and makes plays with his feet. Now, Jason Witten's not going to do that, but he is a player that's going to be able to be a possession receiver, kind of a safety blanket for Dak Prescott. So in that regard, just looking at this season, if they do indeed lose Cole Beasley, I think that does sort of help replace Cole Beasley. Now, I do think Cole Beasley would be a big loss to the Cowboys if he were to leave because I think he's, outside of Amari Cooper, I think he's a guy that can get open against man-to-man. He's a good route runner. He's consistent. He's not great, but he's consistent. So I think that, that would be a big loss. But Jason Witten would help to replace that in that regard. So you're not only upgrading your tight end position with what Witten can do probably as a blocker, more so than what he can do as a receiver. I think you're going to see Jarwin a lot as the receiver, primary guy. Witten will have a couple plays here and there where he catches the ball, but let's be honest, the guy runs a 4.48 right now, I think. I mean, he might run a 5 flat. I don't know. He's really
slow. 5. I'm going to go with the 5.
He's really slow. So, even looking at Antonio Gates last year, and Antonio Gates is still physically a lot more imposing than Jason Witten is at this point in his career. And Antonio Gates struggled out there. So, it's like Witten as a receiver, you're not going to get a lot. But Witten as a blocker, he's still going to be competitive. The only problem is Witten just here for a better wrap-up of his career? Is he just here to say, I had a better ending to my career? Or is he really going to put in the effort of having that last year? Because a lot of times, I don't remember who exactly said it, but it's like this thing that I believe is true. It's like, if you think about retirement, as soon as you think about retirement, you're pretty much retired. And then once you think about retirement, you're pretty much retired, and you're pretty much in the standpoint of, okay, let's just get through these final moments. I don't know if Jason Witten wants to come back because he feels like his last year wasn't good enough for him, what didn't end on a good note, or if he's just back for a contract, or if he's back just for the Monday Night Football factor. So we don't really know that answer, and maybe we'll find that out as we get to training camp and we hear from Jason Witten. But I think there's a lot going into this. And just from a player perspective, Dylan, of course, we talked about Cole Beasley. What do you think about the Cowboys going forward in terms of their receivers and their tight end situation and what you want to see from them? If you want them to add somebody in free agency or the draft, if you want them to re-sign Cole Beasley, what's your thoughts on that?
This is going to be an interesting offseason for sure. You have to spend that money on DeMarcus Lawrence first and foremost, more than anything. I know that's not a receiver, but you got to put that money in there. And then a free agent like Earl Thomas is going to be the number 2 priority for the Cowboys. So in terms of a free agent receiver, I don't know what kind of talent you're going to get out there. You could get something for probably pretty cheap, but you're not going to get a very explosive guy. I would say obviously Amari is number 1. I think Michael Gallup, with more experience, more time this season, I think he's going to do very well. He can be the number 2 guy. It's all about that third position. If Cole Beasley walks, I would rather have him be signed on this team because I think he does more good than harm to this team. He's a third down guy. He's going to be looked at more often than not, Dak likes to throw it to either tight ends or Cole Beasley, I feel like, more on third downs than anybody else. So that's kind of like his security blanket. I think you brought that up. So having him on there would be great. I don't really know the talks as of right now, but I feel like it's 60-40 on him leaving. So that's how I feel about it. Let me think here if there's anything else on that. I mean, the receiver core, we came in here last year. You thought they were the worst receiver core in the game. And they've made they made good improvements. They obviously got Amari Cooper. It's all about making that next step.
Well, that was huge.
It was drastically different. I mean, 3 and 5 before the trade, and then getting it to 10 and 6 with all the great stats that he had. So I feel like that they've solved that problem. They've got a second guy, I think, in Gallup. I think it's the third person that has to step up. And like you said, maybe Witten helps out in that case. But I would like to see a little bit of a more aggressiveness when it gets to Cole Beasley, because I don't know if we would even draft somebody in like the third round or something like that, like Gallup again. I don't really know about that. But I'd like to keep Beasley first and foremost.
I would think, looking at the Cowboys roster, they have quite a few free agents. Of course, they need to look at re-signing DeMarcus Lawrence. I think they're in the process of doing that. And then they have the whole situation with David Irving and
I don't even want to talk
Gregory. We're not going to touch on that, but those two players are leaving. So then when just like factoring in the fact that those two players are probably going to be gone, so they probably want to add like a player. They could do that in the draft. On the defensive line. And then looking at the linebacker situation, they're thinking of cutting Sean Lee to create some more cap space. They might want to look at safety to upgrade there. I know there's a lot of Earl Thomas kind of rumors. I think they're pretty good at corner overall. And
we're good on corner.
Offensive line, I think, is fine with if Frederick's able to return, but they might want to look at depth there. And pretty much that's pretty much it. So like when looking at it, I would say they don't necessarily need a safety, but it would be nice to have one. They probably need a couple, like depth at linebacker, depth on the offensive line, and probably a depth at receiver. I think those would be the top spots now that Jason Witten has returned at tight end. I would probably say that the tight end position before Witten returned was probably their weakest on their team. It still is from like a starting perspective. Like if you went all the way down their roster and we're like, okay, quarterback, running back, tight end, offensive line, I still think like the tight end position is their weakest spot in terms of their starting player. But now it adds a little bit more depth with Witten being there. And I think what Witten is going to add positively is he's going to be a very good blocker for them, which I think is going to add to their running game, which their running game has been solid the last couple of years. It hasn't been what it was in 2016. I don't know if we should be able to expect that or should expect that from this team. But Witten can add something in that regard as well, just to the blocking for the helping the offensive line as well. So, yeah, do you have anything else really to discuss in terms of Jason Witten on the football field?
It's great to see him back, or it's going to be great to see him back. We haven't seen him back. I've always enjoyed watching him. I just hope he goes out there and doesn't play the retirement mentality that, like you said, where if you're already in retirement mode, you pretty much already have retired. I hope he comes in here. I've heard reports that he's getting back on the team so that it can help him with his chances of being the coach for this team in terms of a player position thing, which might help him out. So I think he wants to do well in that case. You don't want to play lackadaisical for a year just to get a job. I don't think that's how it works. So hopefully he goes out there and plays with that same fire and aggression that he put out in his post to the public today. And first and foremost, help this team out. Because if you're going to come on here and, hey, this is a representative job, I don't really care what I'm doing, I'm not here for it. But if he's going to contribute to the team, like I hope he will, in whatever way that he can, I'm all for it, as long as it creates a good vibe and energy to the team.
All right. So let's just cover the topic of Monday Night Football, and then we'll get to the comments, because I'm sure a lot of people want to hear about our thoughts on the Monday Night Football crew. So Monday Night Football, Jason Witten is gone. He's with the Cowboys. I don't know if they're keeping the same crew otherwise. I have not really heard anything in regards to that, but I think this does give them at least an excuse to go a different direction with potentially an entire new crew, including the analysts and then the play-by-play. What do you think, Dylan? What do you want to see from them, and what do you think's actually going to happen?
First off, they should get a new crew. Booger by himself is going to be a nightmare on commentary. Look, I like Booger McFarland. He was funny. He was enjoyable. But if you look at as an actual commentator, he's not very good. Joe Tessitore was okay. He had his moments of really good stuff. I think his best game was that Rams-Chiefs game we saw last year. But we were also very excited about that game. So I guess anybody could have commentated and be excited about it. I feel like they should go in a new direction. I think the biggest name that I would want is Peyton Manning. I've heard that name go up there. He has his own ESPN Plus series, Detail. That's Kobe's series. It's whatever he calls his NFL.
He does have a series for ESPN. He's currently under contract for ESPN. He did a series this past year discussing like quarterbacks. So right. Like he would go over every week like a certain quarterback, like it was like a 2-minute video. I don't know. The videos were okay. Sometimes they were good. Sometimes they were not so good. But it's different from being a color guy than being kind of like an analyst in a video format. So it's kind of a different thing. They're obviously going to give these guys tryouts, but it's interesting. I think there's a lot of good personalities out there that have rather been recently retired or are, looking for potentially a job. Peyton Manning is one of them. I think he's a huge name and could potentially work out. If they could get Peyton Manning to be the personality that he is, instead of trying to be a little bit more tamed like he seemed to be in those video series.
Yeah, he seemed a little unenergetic in those videos. I feel like if he put in that kind of stuff, I think it would work.
Bouncing up and down.
Oh, sorry, I was scratching something on the on my computer. But I think also like there's a lot of people that are from the NFL that are at ESPN right now. They have a lot of NFL talent that they can be like, all right, the game. You can be a color commentator. Just please be better than Jason Witten. By the way, I'm not trying to rag on Jason Witten, but the guy didn't know what a touchback was in college football. Okay, I just want to point that out. Don't have him do that. Maybe not the smartest idea. But they've got a lot of good guys that I think can work there. I'm trying to think. A lot of these other guys are under contract with big names. I know Kevo brought up Phil Simms because he's frustrated with what the company did after putting Romo out there in front of him. He does a lot of Bleacher Report stuff, right? Is that what you?
Okay, so like he's under contract for CBS, like as the guy on the morning show, like one of the guys on the morning show.
Yeah,
the pregame show. He's good in that role, but like I always think when he comes on to Bleacher Report, because of course his son had a podcast, Sims and Levko, so he would always come on the show just to talk. And I thought he would provide a lot of good analysis when he was on that show. I think he does provide a lot of good analysis from like just a football perspective, and he kind of gets in the weeds. He watches all the tape. He really pays attention. There's a lot of guys out there in the NFL. I know it sounds ridiculous, but a lot of guys out there that actually cover the NFL that are former players don't actually pay attention to what's going on in the league. No. Phil Simms is still one of those guys, despite being a guy that's been in the NFL like past, like not playing, but past the NFL for like 20 years. He was with Jim Nantz. And so
he was good in that role. I liked him as the coach there.
Good. He's a good color guy. I think it's an interesting discussion from Kevil's point of view. I think he might be a little bit too old. I don't know if he would want to go on the road and do that again and constantly go to games. I don't know. Maybe not. And maybe if you got a play-by-play guy that they liked, then potentially. But then there's also the question of you would have to get him out of the contract with CBS and you'd have to sign him to ESPN, which is two completely different companies.
I mean, like Trent Dilfer, he could be a name. That's just
I have no idea about Trent Dilfer. I can't really like say if he's good or not. I don't know.
I mean, I know he does ESPN stuff. He has like the Dilfer Dimes or stuff like that. I mean, he's on ESPN quite frequently on like NFL Live when they do that stuff.
Yeah.
I think the biggest name that like has the best chance to get it is Matt Hasselbeck. I don't know.
I don't know. I've never been like a huge Hasselbeck guy on TV. Maybe I haven't seen enough of him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I would almost prefer Kurt Warner over Matt Hasselbeck.
I think Kurt Warner's too monotone for me. I don't like okay. Maybe this is just me. I always like a guy.
Why don't we get a guy that just like retired? See, I think that this kind of sucks for one guy in particular, Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
Because I think Greg Olsen would probably get the job, but he's still playing. So that sucks for him.
Well, maybe they're trying not to go in the tight end route. Maybe they just want to
maybe not. But I've heard Olsen before. He's pretty good. And Davis, Charles Davis, a lot of people like him. I feel like he's a little bit too he's okay. Don't get me wrong, but I like him in the role of like a secondary Fox game. He's good in that role. I don't know if he would be good in the prime time. He's not really a big personality. He's not really super entertaining. He's kind of on the surface. He's good.
We'll keep him as the Madden commentator.
Yeah, he's good. He's good on Madden. I actually heard Romo might be in Madden.
Ooh, now I'll buy the game.
I heard that. But yeah, I don't know. Who would you guys like to see? Throw out some names, and then maybe we could potentially bounce it off of each other here.
Yep.
So let's get to the chat. Robot Guy says, "Sup, y'all? What's going on?" Robot Guy. Graham says, "What's good?" Good to see you guys live, says Robot Guy.
Yep.
Rob says, ESPN should try to pry Charles Davis from Fox.
There you go.
Do you like Tessitore just in general? Do you think he should stay there?
He's okay. I feel like he's the definition of okay. Maybe because I'm so sad that Mike Tirico isn't the play-by-play anymore, because I thought he was like the peak of what Monday Night Football could be.
Oh, he's fantastic. I would try and get him back if it's possible.
Because now, what does he do?
He's probably making so much money though.
But he's not doing much for NBC.
Bro,
He called
just think about what you just said.
I know. He doesn't
money and he's not doing anything.
No. I get it from his perspective. He doesn't have to do anything. He gets to call the Olympics every 4 years, and then does like one.
And he'll fill in once in a while.
Yeah, he did the Thanksgiving game.
Maybe what they're doing is they're grooming him to take over for Al Michaels. Maybe that's what they're doing.
Ooh, maybe. I mean, he did the Thanksgiving game with Woodson and or not Woodson, Ronnie Harrison and.
Because when we really think about it, I mean, the Sunday Night Football is the big show. So potentially he is there until Michaels leaves, because Michaels is kind of pretty old. So like he doesn't have that many years left. So eventually he's going to move on, and maybe Tirico takes over there, and maybe he's just there at NBC to fill that job until he.
How old is Tirico? He can't be. I mean,
he doesn't look that old. I have to look that up, but I think he's. If I had to guess, he's probably like 50s. So he's 52.
He's 52. Okay. Well,
he easily has another 10 years.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then Al Michaels has got to be probably 2 or 3 years left before he's out this role. But I don't know. I mean, I just don't know like what their contracts are, or if
Al Michaels is 74 years old.
Holy shit. God. You know what? Give him credit. He just looks 74. He doesn't sound 74.
Oh, he doesn't.
He was. I remember he was calling the freaking Miracle on Ice. This was 1980, bro. He's been calling shit for
74. If I'm still working at 74, fuck me.
He has to be doing it for the love of the game. Like he absolutely loved this game, because freaking Madden retired from commentary 11 years ago, and he was commentating with Al Michaels. Like, and he's still going. It's crazy.
You think that they could potentially grab Joe Buck?
No, and I'm gonna tell you why. He has got it made at Fox. Not only does he get to do football, he gets to call all the baseball games that are on there, including the World Series. He gets to call golf, which I don't know who made that executive decision, but he gets to call that. He is set there for life. He's been there 20 years, something like that. And then he gets to do his own TV show that's not on Fox. I don't exactly know what channel it's on. He does like an interview thing. He's got it made in Fox. There's no way he's going to do it. I know ESPN also has baseball, for the record, but it's not nearly to the hype of what Fox does it at. So, no, I don't think so.
All right. I do want to throw a name out for play-by-play. I do like Ian Eagle, and he's kind of like in a background role, which I feel like he kind of deserves a little bit more, in my opinion. So I don't know, just throwing that name out there. Isn't Witten going to be 37 when the season starts? Yeah, he's going to be 37. I think I just looked up his birthday. He turns 37 in May. So there you go.
Yep.
Graham says Witten admitted he still had a burning fire. He's still 36 coming back to a Cowboys team. As we said, 37. Team on the upside rather than the down. Hey, you never know about the Cowboys, though, bro. Every other year they miss the playoffs. They rather make it.
The NFC East has been inconsistent for the last 15 years. We haven't had a duo winner since 03-04. So
there you go. Billy said it himself. Then the hot take raid comes out of nowhere with a bunch of hot take hockey. Yo, Bodo's back. What else we got? Matt Cote says, "What are you doing?" What else we got here? I don't know what the heck. Dallas is still a joke.
Congratulations.
Somebody said he's too old now. Aaron Hockey says he's too old now. Can we talk about how the Raiders hurt my soul every year since I was a child? Sorry, bro. We can't talk about that right now. Rick Cowboy says, Mitch, stop being nice. More like a 5'2". Dak without Beasley is a huge loss, says Rick Bad Boy.
Yeah, he would be. He would be.
Robot says, I'm pretty sure Witten is being brought back for leadership. That's something he does bring.
Yep.
Bodo says, question. Let's say I own the Steelers. Should I fire Ben and Tomlin or fire Brown and Bell? I think the problem is the more and more we get into this, the more and more I think it's a top issue. I don't think it's ownership, but I think it's coaching and quarterback. I think it's level 2 and 3, and it all stems from coaching quarterback. The coach can't maintain what's happening with the coach and or with the quarterback and the players, the star players, because he lets them do whatever they want. And then from that perspective, because Ben does whatever he wants, he sets a bad example for Antonio Brown, for Le'Veon Bell, and then they just become characters of their own, and now they're problems. So to me, I think it's an issue at the top, which is kind of just branched out everywhere else. And it's just an entire Steelers organizational issue that they need to kind of move on from. So I know Ben's a great quarterback and you're not going to move on from him, but I think the Steelers are going to be better off when he ends up retiring at this point, because he, I think, has brought a lot of headaches these last couple of years with his drama queen actions.
I don't like when the general manager tells me that the other 52 people on the roster are Ben's children. Right? This is an actual quote from the actual owner of this organization. Don't tell me that that Ben is the guy and then everybody else is underneath him. That just creates a terrible a terrible vibe within the area. AB went off on Twitter last week about Big Ben and what he feels. He's the root of the problem. Not saying that Bell or Brown haven't had their own problems. We've already voiced them plenty of times, and we might even make more videos about it. It kind of depends. But the thing is that the Steelers have created this central drama, and a drama has to start from one source, and I think it's Ben. He hasn't been openly, amazingly public, like, say, Brown or Bell, but if you start these problems, they're going to create more issues down the line, and that's how I feel as it is. And the Steelers, I'm sorry, they're going to be third in their division next year. That's just how I feel it is. They've already created this thing that they've dug themselves in a grave for the next couple years.
Trivia says, Mitch, did you watch Raw? It was finally good. Okay, I did not watch it. I saw the Batista segment, and usually I would immediately shut down what people say that it's good, but I do listen to Russo all the time and his reviews with Stevie Richards and Ben Hameen. So I think that from what they said, that because Bruce Pritchard is back, and I think this was the first week he was involved, the show was a lot better paced and scripted, and just was a smoother show. It's not like it was a more creative show, but from what they said, it was a more just well-paced show, and it didn't feel like a really dragging on 3 hours. So that sounds good. That sounds better. I'm still not going to watch it, probably, but if Batista's there, I'll tune in for his parts because I want to see Batista. And I'll probably watch WrestleMania, but no, I'm not going to be going back to Raw until it's actually relevant.
I will watch the segments on YouTube. That's what I actually watched the Batista segment because everybody was talking about it. It was good. I like Batista. His nose ring is kind of ugly, but I like Batista. So, anything for him.
Ghost Skittle says, "What's up, guys?"
What's up, Ghost Skittle?
Sebastian says, "Sup, people? It's been a while. What's going on, Sebastian?"
It's been a while since it's a banger.
Sup, guys? Says Ultra. What's going on, Ultra? What's up, party?
All those boys.
The clapper, says Robot Guy, out of nowhere.
Yeah, of course.
Did Mitch's hair get spikier? No, it's just longer right now.
So you're growing it out too?
And I don't think I'm growing it out. I think I'll get a haircut soon. But it's just like I was napping for a while because I literally slept not even okay, this was how I slept last night.
Yeah.
I fell asleep at 8.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up at 12.
So you basically you took a big ass nap.
I didn't sleep the rest of the night, bro.
Yeah, you took a fat ass nap.
I literally was lying in my bed at 4 a.m. I'm like, I'm not gonna go to sleep, am I? But I just end up waking up. I didn't sleep all night.
That sounds terrible.
And then I had a test.
Oh, even better. Even better.
I was worried before that because I'm like, shit, I'm gonna go and do a test with no sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it went pretty well.
Pretty well. Well, I mean, that's the key. You don't want to. These college tests. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Rick Badboy says he wants John Madden back. Robot Guy says Joe Buck laughed my ass off. What else? Jim Ross. Some people are asking for. Is
Jim Ross.
Rudolph, is Randolph really the guy replacing? It's Rudolph, isn't it?
Who? What?
Who is he talking about?
I don't know.
Is he talking about Zach?
Kyle or Kyle Rudolph?
Zach Randolph or
Zach Randolph. I was like, what are you talking about? Zach Randolph, boy, our fucking Mavs guy that we don't even know what we're doing with him.
Mason Rudolph, because he put friggin' Randolph. But yeah,
Mason Rudolph.
I don't think so. I was never a huge fan of him in the draft, but
I liked him, but Ben clearly doesn't want to teach him either, so I don't know. He publicly denied he's gonna help him. Yeah, thanks. That really helps.
And on the note of Durkant telling me to get a comb, I will see you guys later. So thanks, guys, for tuning in to another live stream. Mitch and Dilly Vanilli here. We just talked Jason Witten. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, Gronk spike that like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.
Peace.